Hello, Bicmex here. I'm gonna make a little cheeky guide for 11.0.5. It's a little bit overdue, but I just wanted to play a lot with the patch since it's so different compared to before. So I just have like a better opinion on everything. So I'm just gonna glaze myself a little bit for the people that don't know who I am. So here we have Shuffle. I'm the highest rated survival hunter in Shuffle of all time, even though it was an inflated season, but blah blah blah. Yeah, there you have it. And then I'm the highest rated twos player of all time as well. And then in threes, I'm not the highest survival, but I'm close. I'm getting there, you know. So that's something. Anyway, that's just some sort of credibility in case you don't know who I am. I'm also gonna go over a lot of things very in depth for no reason. So yeah, I just like over explaining stuff. I think it's kind of fun. So if that's not for you, sorry, the guide is gonna be kind of long, but that's just the way that I see it. So starting out with the talents here, the first thing that we have is natural mending, which gives you some CDR on acceleration. So you just wanna pick it up. Then we have post haste, which is just whenever you press disengage, you also remove slows and roots. Pretty good. Kill shot. Then over here we just have Rejuv Wind, which gives you 8% extra HP. And then you also get a little bit of a healing over time whenever you press acceleration as well. Then here we have Hunter's Avoidance, which is kind of an okay-ish spell. It works for things like Fist of Fury, Blade Dance, Blizzard, but there are better options, so we're not going to take it. Then over here we just have Death Blow, which is whenever you press kill command, you have a 10% chance. It says 15 because I have a talent over here. But it's a 10% chance to give you a kill shot whenever you press kill command, so really good, we want to take it. Then over here we have Wilderness Medicine. Now, the one thing about this is the fact that Ment Pet is so overpowered in PvP that it's not really necessary to pick this one up. So we're going to skip it over. Also, one thing that is kind of bad about this as well is that if you face a Shadow Priest or a Affliction Warlock, you can never ever take this talent because whenever you dispel your pet, you are the one that receives the downside. You know how you dispel a UA, you take like extra damage, so you can't take this. It's it's kind of mid. It's kind of a waste of a talent point, so I would just not recommend taking it. Then over here we just have Tar Trap, really good spell. Obviously you want to take Tar Trap. Then you have a Tranquilizing Shot, pretty good spell. It's your Purge. I would recommend taking it, yeah. Then here we have Concussive Shot. Now, I have seen some people that don't take Concussive Shot, but for me, I still feel like it's worth it to take, so I would recommend putting a point into Concussive Shot. There are also a few bugs with Conk Shot, which is kind of funny. For example, you can apply Concussive Shot through Freedom. Now, it won't slow them, but you can still apply it through, which is very interesting. You can also apply Conk Shot through Ice Block and Bubble and Cyclone and Turtle. Don't ask why, that's just spells very, very weird. Then however you just have your wall. It's 25% in PvP, but yeah, you just take it. Then over here you have your Tar Trap now roots people. One thing to know as well is the fact that this root is on the root DR. So keep that in mind. You're gonna put a lot of people on the root DR if you use this, so good to know. Then over here you have your interrupt. It's just an interrupt. Then over here we have Kodo Tranquilizer, which makes your tranquilizing shot, aka your purge, an AoE effect. Now, at the beginning of the expansion, this made it so you also removed 2 spells or 2 magic effects from the enemy, but now it is changed. It only purges once. So for example, let's say I press purge on this individual. You see how it 1, 1, 1. You can't purge twice on the same target. So that's something to keep in mind. But in general, it's a pretty good spell, but it's something that you can drop, but for a default, I would just recommend picking it up. Then over here we have Misdirection, which is I mean, you would think that it's useless, but it synergizes really well with Interlope, in the fact that you need to have it for it to function. But I can talk about Interlope later, so just keep in mind that it will be a spell that you can use. Then over here we have Scout Instinct. Now, this spell it's pretty okay. it's pretty okay. The one downside is the fact that you need to use other talents to make it better. There are going to be some talents that synergize well with Shira. So an example being Moment of Opportunity, and then also this thing, Tireless Hunt. So there is an argument to be made, and I have played this in a few matchups, but it's kind of a niche talent point to spend when, in my opinion, I feel like there are better options. So you don't have to pick it up, but you can if you really want to. Then over here we just have one additional charge on your wall, so you want to take it. Here it just gives you some CDR on your wall and your kick, and also makes it last longer, so you just want to take it. Then over here you just have 10% more damage on Wildfire Bomb, so you obviously have to pick it up. Then here you have... now, this is kinda... I don't want to say useless, it's pretty bad. So... But you have to pick it up anyway, because it goes down into Binding Shot, so you just have to take a point in it. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that if you want to play with Scare Beast, then this would be the talent point that I would recommend removing. So if you're ever into like a Feral, sometimes even Resto Druids, if you want to like make a movie or something for fun, you can take a point in Scare Beast. So this spell isn't the best, but it's really easy to get. So if you're ever into a Feral, you can just remove 1 point here and then just take Scare Beast, and then you're going to be fine. Then over here we have Intimidation, which is actually a 3-second stun in PvP, so you want to pick it up. And then it doesn't say the range, but it's 50 yards from your pet. So that's the range on Intimidation. Then here you have your kind of a bread and butter ability, Explosive Shot. So for survival, you obviously need to pick this one up. Then over here we have Binding Shot, which is a 3-second stun in PvP. Yeah, it's really, really good, so you want to take it up for sure, skis. Then over here we have between Bursting Shot and Scatter Shot. In 99.9% of cases, Scatter Shot will just be better, so just take Scatter Shot. Thank you. Then over here we have a talent that is kinda sort of... It's not pointless, but it's not that good, so I would not recommend taking it. The only real benefit of this is making Intimidation a 55-second CD instead of 1 minute, but there's another talent that basically does the exact same thing, so yeah, I would just recommend skipping this one. Trigger Finger is pretty good for Marksmanship Hunter, and then it's like okay for BM, but for Survival this is like kind of bad, since you can't really guarantee that you have that much uptime in melee range. Plus, there's a talent in the survival tree that basically does the same thing, but 50 billion times better. So spending 2 points in this is a little bit... I don't know. I feel like you can't really do it, so I would recommend skipping it. There you have 8% more damage on your Explosive Shot, which you have to take, so you just take it. Then over here you have Crit. Now, Crit doesn't seem that good on paper, but you'll see later why having a little bit of Crit is pretty good, so I would recommend taking 2 points in Keen Eyesight. Then this makes your Binding Shot a 2-second stun. I mean, from 2 seconds to 3 seconds, so that's 1 second longer, really good. You have to take it. Then over here we have Scrappy. Now, Scrappy, it's a talent that you don't have to play, but it's pretty decent in a lot of matchups where you will press your Intimidation and Binding Shot on cooldown. So, for example, let's say if you play 2v2 or 3v3, where you have to do your stun into trap on the healer, having Scrappy actually gives you... There are some moments where you can do your stun trap go like 3-4 seconds earlier than what you may have to do it before if you don't have this. So Scrappy is only really good if you're like playing well, I would say. So it's not a talent that you have to play, and in some matchups it's kind of useless. For example, if you play with like a sub-rogue, it doesn't really do that much because you don't really want to press Intimidation and Binding Shot on cooldown regardless. But it's a pretty good talent, so just keep that in mind. You don't have to take it as a default, but it's pretty good. Quick Load just gives you CDR on your Scatter Shot whenever you fall below 40. The talent is not awful. The only real problem is the fact that, like, other than in 1v1 scenarios, this barely does anything. And even in 1v1s, it's not really that good because then you're putting them on DR, so I feel like the talent is not really that good. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but I guess it's there if you really want to. Then you just have 4% movement speed. Take it. Same thing here, you have Binding Shackles, which is kind of the same thing as Scrappy. It's a really good talent, but you don't have to take it all the time. It just gives you 10% damage reduction every single time you press Binding Shot, Knock Trap, Scatter Shot, or Intimidation. Now, the one thing that is kind of counterintuitive is the fact that for a lot of these abilities, you won't gain any value from the damage reduction. This is mainly something that I play into something like 2s, where sometimes I can just use my high explosive trap on the kill target just to get the damage reduction. But for the most part, it's not amazing, but it's pretty good. Same thing with a Binding Shot. You could just Binding Shot and not take that much damage, but it's not the best talent, but it's pretty good sometimes. Then over here you just have Camouflage, which, I mean, obviously you have to play with Camouflage, so you play with Camouflage. This talent is beyond useless. I don't know who made it, but it's yeah, it's shit. Trailblazer, 30% movement speed whenever you haven't attacked anyone. It's mainly a talent you're gonna play in Blitz, for example, in like Warsong Gulch. You can gain some movement speed whenever you're running in the tunnels or stuff like that. It's not really the best talent, but there are some scenarios where you can pick it up, just so you know. Then over here we just have Roar of Sacrifice. You have to take it. Gives you crit immunity. Pretty good. Not bad. This talent is only good if you can't read. Same thing here. This talent, basically, is only really played if you would also play Scout's Instinct. So, for example, if you're into something in, I want to say 2v2, where someone will have like 100% slow on you all the time, for example, a rogue, it can be pretty decent to play Scout Instincts with Moment of Opportunity to gain that little bit of an extra Shira. So that is something that you can do if you really want to. Then over here we just have Born to be Wild, pretty good talent. I would recommend it in like basically every single game. The biggest thing with this is the CDR on Eagle, making it a 1 minute cooldown instead of a 1 minute 30. So that is the ability that makes it so you can attack with Raptor Strike from range. Pretty good, take it every single game. This talent is beyond useless, never take it ever. I think whoever designed this talent should be fired. But that's just my opinion. It makes no sense to ever take. Don't take it, thank you. And before you say like, oh my god, but you can like feign death camo and then you get the damage reduction. The problem with that is the fact that you have survival tactics, which already gives you a damage reduction on your feign death. So, oh, but what about if you're in camouflage in the opener and then a rogue opens on you? Well, it's still bad because they don't kill you instantly. They have to stun you first, which is one global. Then the next global that they do usually won't do that much damage, even if you're a feral or a sub-rogue, because you need to like gain combo points. And then the third global could do some damage. So you're realistically taking it so you take 20% less damage from one spell, which is... but, I mean, it's so bad. If you get opened on... I don't know. For me, this spell would only be good if it lasted like... I don't know, 10 seconds? 15 maybe? Then I would see it being sort of kinda useful, maybe in some cases, but lasting 3 seconds does absolutely nothing. It's horrendous. Don't take it, thank you. Then over here we have improved traps. Now, 5 seconds might not seem like a lot, but in reality, 5 seconds matter a lot. So, yes, especially when you have 3 traps that you kinda need to press. Not really on cooldown, but like, sometimes it can be useful to press it on cooldown, so 5 seconds off is a huge deal. I would recommend it in every single case, in every build that you ever make. Then over here we have Emergency Salve, which gives you poison and disease removal on Feign Death and Turtle. So this will mainly be useful into things like Assassination Rogues, Shadow Priest with the disease, and also Unholy Decay with the disease as well. But it's not really the best. It's like a situational talent, so you'll take it whenever you need it, but it's not like a mandatory thing. Then over here you have to pick between High Explosive Trap, which knocks people away, or Implosive Trap, which was made for PvE. Mythic Plus dungeon. This just makes them basically jump. So it's like, if in case you're wondering how far do they get knocked up, it's like a jump. It's only really there so you can do a binding shot and then make all of the enemies jump so they get stunned. So it's basically only designed for Mythic Plus. Don't take it in PvP, thank you. Then over here we just have 10% dot damage, which becomes 50% dot damage whenever they're below 20%, which is massive. Take it, thank you. Now here we are in this predicament where you have 1 point left over. So usually here I would recommend taking either Scrappy for the CDR or Binding Shackles for the damage reduction. Or if you are playing something like 2s, for example, and you're into like a rogue that has a lot of uptime, what you could do is take Binding Shackles, remove 1 point in Keen Eyesight, and then take Moment of Opportunity, and then remove another point in Keen Eyesight to then take Scout Instincts, and then also take Tireless Hunt. So you get your Shira a little bit more often. You can get the it's not really like a slow immunity, but like instead of being super slowed, you'll only be like a little bit slowed. Since rogues have, 57% slow on their auto attacks. I think it's even more. I think it's like 67. So this makes you not as slowed, but still slowed. So this is like an alternative build that you can do, but obviously you can't really do it every single game. But keep that in mind. It's something that you can do. Specifically into like rogue and DK and 2s. I feel like other than that, it's not really that impactful. So yeah, that's kind of it about the hunter tree. Let's go over to the survival tree. Wow. So first up here, we have kill command. So the one thing that they've changed a lot this expansion is that now kill command is your only way of generating focus. And it only gives you 15. So keep that in mind. This is going to be a spell that you will press a lot for 2 reasons. Number 1, to gain focus. And then number 2, because of this spell over here, which I will go over later. So yeah, it's just a generator spell. It's just good. Don't have to think about it much. It's just it's a spell. From your pet, 50 yards, same thing as Intimidation, even though Intimidation just doesn't say the yard counter for some reason. I don't know why, but that is just the way it is. Then over here we have Wildfire Bomb. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the fact that this does way more damage than what you might expect, because it has an 80% damage modifier on the primary target. So Wildfire Bomb hits very, very, very hard. This will be your top damage every single game. So remember to press this on cooldown. Huge. Then over here we have Raptor Strike. It's just, if you have nothing else to press, you will just press it. That's kinda it. This just gives you 2 charges on Wildfire Bomb, so you have to take it. Now, here we have the quote-unquote kinda bread and butter new survival mechanic with Tip of the Spear, which increases the direct damage. Now, what this means is that it's only the application damage of your abilities which will do more damage. So, for example, with your Wildfire Bomb, do you see how it says 224k like damage initially, and then 191k over 6 seconds? It's only the 224k damage that will be affected by Tip of the Spear. The damage on the dot effect has nothing to do with Tip of the Spear. And this goes for every other dot that you have in the entire game. The only exception is Call Up the Herd, which... But the reason why this is the exception is the fact that Killshot... The damage of the Killshot gets converted into a bleed. So obviously, if you increase the damage of the Killshot, the bleed will also be higher. Yeah, thank you. So, Tip of the Spear, pretty good. Take it. Hell yeah. Then over here, we just have it so your auto attack reduces the cooldown on Wildfire Bomb by 1 second, which is pretty banger. So, you want to take it. Then over here we have quick shots. Not really that good of a spell, but yeah, you need to take it to go down into the tree. Here we have Depression in a nutshell. So, what is the issue with Mongoose Bite? The issue with Mongoose Bite is the fact that Raptor Strike has a higher base damage. So, Mongoose Bite will only do more damage once you have 2.5 stacks. Then a No, it's a 1.5, sorry. So yeah, a 2-stack Raptor Strike will do more damage than a Raptor Strike. But the problem is that then you will still do less damage for the 0 stack and the 1 stack. So let's say if you do 3 Raptor Strikes in a row compared to 3 Mongoose Bites in a row, the first 2 Mongoose Bites will do less damage than a baseline Raptor Strike, and then it's only the third one that will do more damage than the Raptor Strike. But since you have lost so much damage from the first 2 Mongoose Bites that do less damage than the Raptor Strike, the overall damage, if you do 3 of them in a row, will be less damage. And then the math is like this. If you have done 4 Raptor Strikes in a row compared to 4 Mongoose Bites in a row, they will do the exact same damage. Okay? It's only when you have done 5 Mongoose Bites in a row compared to 5 Raptor Strikes that Mongoose Bite wins by a tiny margin. Now, you might expect, oh, but what is the issue with this? You press Mongoose Bite all the time, don't you? Right? You press Mongoose Bite all the time. That's like the survival hunter dream, you know? You press Mongoose Bite. That's like what you do. No. The new reworked Survival Hunter, you barely have any time whatsoever to ever press Mongoose Bite. I'd say one of the biggest things is grenade. It's because of Grenade Juggler, which I will go over later, but it's also because of something sneaky that Blizzard has done that I feel like a lot of people haven't noticed. Kill Command is the only ability that gives you focus, and it only gives you 15. Now, Raptor Strike costs 30 focus. Wildfire Bomb costs 10 focus. Butchery costs 30 focus. Explosive Shot, 20 focus. Kill Shot, 10 focus. Even if you have Sick Am, it still costs 10 focus. Flanking Strikes cost 15 focus. You are so focus starved. There is no galaxy where you can ever do your DPS rotation in PvP optimally, and then also try to squeeze in at least 4 Mongoose Bites in a row throughout the 14-second window to do more damage than a Raptor Strike. It's impossible. You will never do it. Mongoose Bite is the biggest bait. Never take it. Thank you. Then over here we have Flanker's Advantage, which just gives you a higher chance on kill command to reset. And then Tip of Despair damage also scales with your crit. So, the one thing about this is the fact that this also scales with your baseline crit. So, your baseline crit is 10%, right? And then you have 14% because you take 2 points in Keen Eyesight, which means that your Tip of Despair, which is normally 15%, with this, it goes up to 19%. So, you see here how you have 19% damage increase from Tip of Despair. Pretty good, not bad. Which is why I would recommend taking this over anything else, because the damage you gain is pretty decent. So yeah, that's why you have this, by the way. So yeah. Then over here you have Wildfire Infusion, which just gives you your Mongoose Bite. I mean, Raptor Strike is a 10% chance to give you your kill command back, and then also kill command reduces the cooldown of your bomb. Pretty good. So you might look at the cooldown and be like, oh no, it's a 16-second cooldown, that's so long. But in reality, it's going to be way shorter because you have 3 ways of giving you CDR on your Wildfire Bomb. It's your auto attack and also kill command. And then also Coronal Assault, which I will go over later, but yeah. So that's pretty good. You have to kind of have to take it. Then over here you have 8% damage on Wildfire Bomb. So yeah, take it. Then over here you have This is really bad. So the reason why this is bad is because you need to get 3 arcane shots, right? So that's 30%, 30%, 30% per kill command, right? But the problem is that it's only the 4th that gives you the explosive shot instead of the arcane shot. So think about it like this. Whenever you press kill command, the 30% needs to happen 4 times, okay? And then your arcane shot gets replaced by an explosive shot. So you can think about it in a way that the fact that the explosive shot does quote-unquote less damage because you have to like think about the fact that it's also you're also not getting the arcane shot on that reset. And also maybe you get it in a weird way where like you don't really want to get an explosive shot anyway, because what if it breaks CC? Like you're not gonna necessarily be in control. And also there are so many other talents for you to take that there is no way you can ever take this talent. It's horrendous. Don't take it. Thank you. Then here we have the big rework, the motherload. It is butchery. Now this spell will going to be it's either number 1 or number 2 in your damage every single game. It's an incredibly powerful spell. So yes, you will just play it. You have some ways of giving CDR as well, so pretty good. Make sure to spam butchery. It's a banger of a spell. Then obviously this spell you can't take because yeah, you don't go butchery. Yeah. Here you just have 2 charges on kill command. Really good. Have to take it. Over here you just have more damage on your serpent sting, kill shot, arcane shot, and explosive shot. So that's a banger. It's a banger. I don't know why Blizzard is so horny with steady shot. It seems like they're literally just memeing on us, because you never ever press steady shot ever. But we have 2 talents that work with steady shot, and I don't know why. It's Ranger, and then also concussive shot. So I feel like Blizzard is playing a sick prank for us for like 4 years now. So I kinda hate Blizzard for just taunting us with steady shot, even though we never press it ever. We can't even press it because it requires a bow. So I don't understand. I literally don't understand. What is wrong with them? What is wrong? Why? What's the point? Anyway. Then here we have Grenade Juggler. This is one of the reasons also why you can never go Mongoose Bite. So how it works is Wildfire Bomb does 5% more damage, and then also it has a 25% chance to give you an explosive shot. So the way that this works is explosive shot costs 20 focus. Now imagine you press explosive shot, right? And then you press Wildfire Bomb. Now, what if this resets? Then you have to spend another 20 focus, okay? And then you press Wildfire Bomb again. If you get another proc, you have to spend another 20 focus. So you will be so focus starved that you have to weave in your kill commands for almost every single ability, because there is just no way of trying to like optimize all of the abilities that you have to press while also maintaining Mongoose Bite stacks. Just never ever, just don't stop thinking about the spell. You can't, it's so bad. Just don't. Thank you. Any users, this spell has gotten reworked. Before, it used to throw out a explosive shot on a random enemy. So thank God that now you are in control of everything. That's a banger. Thank you. Over here you have Flanking Strike. So this spell has been reworked from being a focus regen spell to now just instead doing 5 billion damage, giving you Tip of the Spear stacks, and then it also scales harder of Tip of the Spear than any other ability. So yeah, that's a banger. Over here we have Frenzy Strikes, which is a really, really good spell. It's a really, really good spell. You can't, unfortunately, take it every single game, because, sometimes you can't really guarantee that you're gonna hit that many targets. But if you're, for example, into like a BM Hunter or a Demonology Warlock, maybe a DK, maybe like a melee cleave, they're gonna be stacked almost the entire game. It's a really, really good ability, so it's for sure a talent that you can play in most scenarios, I would say. Then here we have the reason why butchery is so good. Merciless blows. Now, because it's a bleed, it ignores armor, so keep that in mind. But also, it scales with 2 other abilities that we have, so that's a banger. That being Call of the Herd, which gives you your bleeds do more damage after you press in kill shot, and then also with Bloodseeker, which gives you attack speed. So yeah. Over here we have Viper's Venom. Now, this is one of the big reasons why you actually want to press Raptor Strike to begin with, is to apply Serpent Sting. One thing that's kind of a fun fact, interesting to know, is the fact that you actually shoot out the the Serpent Sting, which means that Tip of the Spear works twice from Raptor Strike, which is kind of interesting, because you have the 19% damage increase of the Raptor Strike, but then it's also 19% extra damage on the initial damage on the Serpent Sting. So, yeah, it's actually pretty good to Tip of the Spear your Raptor Strikes, because it scales twice, kinda, sort of, maybe, in like a weird way. But yeah, this is basically one of the reasons why you even press Raptor Strike to begin with, because it's so focus heavy, so it's really good to have a dot attached to it. So yeah, banger. Over here we'd have Bloodseeker. It's not fantastic, but it's a pretty decent spell, and sometimes you can get a lot of value if you're into like I'd say like a lot of like AoE scenarios where you're gonna bleed up a lot of people with your merciless blows, aka your butchery. Or if you maybe play with like a feral, and the feral applies bleeds, because this doesn't only work with your bleeds, it's every single bleeding enemy within 12 yards. So the extra attack speed can kind of ramp up if there's a lot of enemies nearby, so it's a pretty good talent, so I would recommend taking it as like a baseline, at least. Then here we have terms of engagement. The biggest thing about this is the fact that you get 10 seconds off your harpoon, so it goes from a 30-second cooldown to a 20-second cooldown. Take it, thank you. Then over here we just have flanking strikes, which is just 5% more damage and 5%. I mean, it's 5% more damage on Wildfire when flanking, so you have to take it. Then here we have Sikkim, which basically gives you 5% more, but it's 50% more if you think about it in that way. Higher chance to make it so your kill command gives you a kill shot proc, so it also becomes AoE. The one thing about this AoE is the fact that it's smart AoE, so it won't break crowd control, compared to the marksmanship. MM has a thing that works the exact way, same as this, but that breaks CC, and then this doesn't, which is kind of funny, but yeah. Then here we have Contagious Reagents. Not really that good, but you don't have talent points to take it, so you can't take it. Here we have Outland Venom. It's pretty mediocre, but you don't have talent points to take it anyway. Here we have Explosive Experts. I'm gonna skip it over right now, and I'm just gonna focus on the middle one here. This is just 10% more damage on the Raptor Strike and Butchery, so that's good. Then here we have Coordinated Assault. Wow. Yeah, so this basically works together with Bombardier, so I'm just gonna go over them together. So whenever you press Coordinated Assault, it resets your Wildfire Bomb charges, which means that you always want to cast your Wildfire Bombs and then press Coordinated Assault, so you gain value from the cooldown reduction on the Wildfire Bombs, or the recharge mechanic. One thing that Blizzard has also done is they have made it so now the damage over time effect on the Wildfire Bomb, they stack. So if you throw 2 Wildfire Bombs in a row, or even 4 in a row, you won't lose out on any damage on the dot, which is really, really good. So keep that in mind. And yeah, it also has the extra benefit of making it so your kill command has a 30% chance to give you a kill shot, which isn't really that big of a deal, but it can be something to keep in mind. Then over here we have a really bad talent in PvP, which I'm not even gonna go over, because this thing is so much better. It is like laughable how much better this is. It's so good. Gives you 3 stacks of Tip of the Spear, and also reduces the cooldown by half. Oh my god. The fact that it gives you 3 tips is also a extremely big deal. It's a really, really big deal. So 100% always go for this. Now, here we have 4 points left over. Now, here you have either the option of going full into this one or full into this one. So I'm going to start off with the left side. Now, over here you have Wildfire Bomb, gives you CDR, blah, blah, blah. Sure. And then over here we have Fury of the Eagle. Now, it will just do a little, you know, some damage. But then it also gives you haste. Wow. And then it also has a chance to give you a tip of the spear stack, which can be pretty good. So, Fury of the Eagle, it's not really like a meme. It's definitely a playable spell. So, yeah, 100%. You can take Fury of the Eagle if you really want to. Now, for me, I think it's hard to know when is the best case. I think you just have to like play with both of them and then kind of come to a conclusion by yourself to come out to, you know, understand which one you think is better. For the most part, I don't think it's... I mean, it's good, but it's not like fantastic. So even though there are some scenarios where I definitely do play Fury of the Eagle, I think in general it is better to play with Spearhead. So what Spearhead is that it gives you 200% crit, but then it also gives you a nasty dot, 400k damage. Wow. But then it gives you 30% crit and 30% crit damage on the target that you press Spearhead on. So if you add Spearhead together with your Coordinated Assault, and if you're also allowed to have a lot of uptime, this will do the most ridiculous damage of all time. So the one thing that Spearhead gets countered by is things like Roar of Sacrifice, because obviously if you can't crit, Spearhead doesn't really have that much value. If you get CC'd, Spearhead doesn't really gain that much value. Or if you're into like a Paladin can maybe like, I don't know, what's it called? Bop, the Blessing of Protection, to like remove it. But something that I found that happens a lot actually is that your teammates can also just remove this dot. So something that I've noticed in shuffles that happened a lot is that I will press Spearhead on someone, but then my teammate will like blind off my Spearhead, or maybe the mage will like polymorph off the Spearhead, or maybe something else happens, and I like lose my mind. And so for that reason alone, because your teammates can grief you so much, and also because of Roar of Sacrifice exists, that kind of gives it a little bit more that like sometimes you can just play Fury of the Eagle. Because the one thing about Fury of the Eagle as well is that even if you just press Fury of the Eagle and then kind of cancel it instantly, you still get the 8% haste. Because even if you cancel the Fury of the Eagle, and also what I mean by canceling, I don't mean like cancel aura, but what I mean by that is like you press Fury of the Eagle, and then instead of letting the entire thing go through, you will just continue on with your next global. So for example, if I do like Fury of the Eagle into like a butchery, you see how I still get the haste. So that's like a scenario where it would be pretty good to press it, you know, because it's some pretty decent damage. It's not like crazy or anything, but I think in general it's easier to just press Fury of the Eagle and know that you'll always get something from it, instead of having to deal with like, oh no, my teammate removed my Spearhead yet again. Wow. How could that happen? Wow, one more time. Wow. I definitely don't want to strangle my teammate 24/7. So yeah, that's yeah, okay, basically they're both good options. Play with whatever, you can do whatever you want. They're both pretty good. Hell yeah. Now for Frenzy Strikes. About Frenzy Strikes, what do I do with this? So usually I would recommend Bloodseeker. This would be the talent that I would drop for Frenzy Strikes. But if you really want to, you can also drop Deadly Duo, and you can play this combination. So this is like if you are in a matchup maybe where you like you think you're gonna get CC'd instantly the second that you do like anything fancy. So you just have a little bit more like sustained damage, right? That's like something cool you can do. This is definitely something that you can do. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. I think if you're going to be in a matchup where you're going to be CC'd, it would just be better to just play something like this instead, if you also want to have the AoE pressure. But, I mean, I have I have been seen playing that build before, so just know that you have a lot of things to do when it comes to your talents. So for sure, drop Bloodseeker if you're ever against like a BM Hunter or a Demo Warlock or anything with a lot of pets, because you basically get your bomb back from your butchery, which is extremely strong. So you can maybe do like bomb, butchery, bomb, which is like, oh, that's so much damage, you have no idea. So yeah, for sure, talent, really, really good. But this is, as a default, I think it's pretty decent. So yeah. Wait, I'm just gonna go get some water. I need some water right now. One sec. Hello, I'm back. Sorry, I just had to go take a little piss, get some water. But yeah, let's hop on over to the PvP talents over here. Yeah. So you only really have, I wanna say, 5 really good ones that you will swap between for 99% of your games. So the first thing is Camerial. Now, what this is that it's a slow that then turns into a silence that then turns into a damage and healing decrease. So, for the most part, you will basically only really use this for the slow effect. So, if you're into something like a Disc Priest, something that you can do is you can then slow them, and then you can wait for the poison, and then now you can harpoon, and then you can trap. And then they can't fade, they can't death, they can't really do anything fancy like that. So, that's like one of the big things that you do with Camerial. It's either on the healer or on the off target. Now on the off target would be like, let's say you are playing against a shaman, and a shaman, they can press grounding totem. So what you can do is that you can press Camerial, wait a little bit, then stun the healer as the shaman is silenced, and then trap, and then because they're silenced, they can't ground the trap. Yeah, really cool. So those are one of the big 2 things you want to do with the Camerial. So pretty good spell. You will basically play it in like every single game, kinda, sort of. Then over here we have Survival Tactics, which gives you a 90% damage decrease for 2 seconds. It kind of got nerfed down from 3. It's still a really good spell to press, having the ability to get 90% damage reduction that works on projectiles that are in the air, which is kind of rare for spells to work like that. Usually spells, they don't work if they are in the air. For example, Sheet Death doesn't work with projectiles in the air. Turtle doesn't work with spells that are in the air. Things like Dispersion doesn't work with spells that are in the air. So this is one of the few spells that actually work damage reduction wise on things that are flying towards you, regardless of like where they are. So really good. Yes, just I love Feign Death. That's all I'm saying. Then over here, we have the situational talent. So, by default, I just have Stick Guitar, which is your disarm. The one thing about your disarm is the fact that it's a magical spell. Kinda, but not really, but it kinda is. So, if there's a grounding totem down, you cannot use Stick Guitar Bomb. Keep that in mind. Or, if a warrior has spell reflection, it will spell effect over to you. So yeah, just be extra careful when it comes to that. But you can still apply it through Cloak of Shadows. So that's interesting. I don't know, keep that in mind. Then over here we have Mending Bandage, which unfortunately got nerfed. It used to be a 25% heal, but I guess they had to nerf it for no reason whatsoever. This talent you will basically only really play into Assassination Rogues and Feral Druids, but into those classes it's one hell of a spell. That's all that I can say. So now you might be asking, okay, so we have this if you're into melee, you have this if you're into Feral or Asa Rogue, but what do you do into casters? Well, you could play Hunting Pact, which gives you cooldown reduction on your Shira. I mean, you can do that. You obviously can't go this, because this spell sucks. You could go Diamond Eyes, which is a talent that you might even play into melee, because people love to break CC. So yeah. You can't really go Wild Kingdom, because this talent is obsolete, because they have buffed Ment Pet too many times, and they have even buffed Revive Pet too many times for this talent to ever make any sense, ever. So you are stuck with Interlope. Wow. The thing is, I love Interlope. And then if you want to pick up Interlope, usually you can just drop Kodo Trank. Or you can drop 1 point into Keen Eyesight. Or you can drop Binding Shackles or Scrappy for it. So yeah, I would say either drop Binding Shackles, or drop Scrappy, or drop Keen Eyesight, or drop Kodo Trank. Those are the talents that I would recommend dropping for Misdirection. So now you might be asking, okay, but what does the spell? What does the spell actually do? What is this? What is this? Yeah, like, what is even? What is it? What even happens? So the way that I describe it, very easy, is that think about it as like a personal grounding totem. So I think we all know how grounding totem works. It just nullifies the spell. So one of the big things to do is, for example, let's say you are playing into a Warlock. Now, Warlocks, they have Mortal Coil. So whenever you are close to a Warlock, they will usually press Mortal Coil on you, which is why you can press Misdirection beforehand, and then press Coordinated Assault. And then now, as long as you're within 20 yards, which is massive, by the way, you will then immune 3 magical abilities, or 3 magical spells. So this is like, I don't know, Immolate, Conflag, Coil, Fear, Hammer of Justice, anything like that. Anything that, okay, any spell that gets grounded by Grounding Totem will also get interloped by Interlope. So I'm gonna show you how big 20 yards is in case you're not really too familiar with 20 yards. There we go. So your pet can be this far away from you, and if I get feared or polymorphed or anything, it will go to my pet instead. Wow, that's really good. Now the one thing about this is that if you don't have a keybind for it, which I feel like a lot of people don't have a keybind for this is something that I've heard a lot. People are like, oh, I wish I could take Interlope, but I'm too lazy because, what if I don't have a keybind for it? I don't wanna deal with it. A very easy thing that I would do is to make this macro. Let me show you right here, right now. You would just do show tooltip, coordinated assault. Then you would do /cast coordinated assault, and then you would do /cast at player misdirection. So what this does is that whenever you press coordinated assault, you will then also cast misdirection on yourself. So it would look like this. Very easy. Bam. It is just that easy. So now you have pressed Interlope, you have it on yourself, you have pressed coordinated assault. Damn. What a fantastic way to just put 2 spells together if you're too lazy to have a keybind for Interlope. Now the reason why this always works is because coordinated assault also always makes you and your pet charge towards the target. So even if I'm, let's say, over here, vibing, chilling, if I then press coordinated assault, both me and my pet will be, going towards this little training dummy. So it always works. Yeah, it's like it's a good way to make it work, just in case for whatever reason you don't have a keybind for it. Now you might say like, oh my god, but what about the cooldown? There's like a little bit of a cooldown difference because it's a 45-second CD, but that doesn't line up with my coordinated assault, right? Well, kinda yes, but kinda no. So I'm gonna go into that actually right now. What a good segue into Pack Leader or Sentinel, which is maybe the most asked question on my stream of all time, forever and forever. So I kind of forgot to write a pros and cons on both of them, so I'm gonna do it right now. So I'm gonna go pause the video and then I'll be back. Hello, we are back. Okay, so now I have written the pros and cons, so I have that ready. But first of all, I'm just gonna go over all of the talents over here. So first off, we have Vicious Hunt, which basically makes it so whenever you press kill command, your next 2 kill commands will do way more damage. So how this works is that whenever you press your kill command, if you look like this, you see, it makes my next 2 kill commands do more damage. So now I can consume them. And then now if I press kill command again, I will get them back up. So it will only be 1 kill command that won't have the effect from Vicious Hunt. So let's go back over here. Then over here you have Pack Coordination, which is whenever you do a Vicious Hunt, so whenever you consume one of the kill commands, it will do a basic attack with your next. It seems so weird, but basically, so let's say that right now I press kill command. This will then make it so you see how it has this, the pack coordination buff. So if I do a raptor strike and then another raptor strike, you see how it then eats. It causes a claw to work. So claw is this. So it makes it so your pet claw, it won't cost focus for your pet, which is something that it's pretty important. So yeah, it's weird, but that's how that works. It basically is just whenever you consume this, you can just do raptor strike. Here my pet isn't attacking. Oh my god, can my pet attack? If you look at this, claw. Yeah, that's fun fact. So yeah, keep that in mind. That's basically what that does. I know that it can be kind of weird if you don't know what it, but that's okay. I'm over explaining. Whatever, who cares? Now here we have a Howlet attack. So your basic attack, whenever they crit, you gain crit damage, which is pretty good, pretty decent actually. Not even that bad. So the one spell that is really good with this is Bloodseeker actually, because if you press Bloodseeker and then you merciless blows, you beat up a lot of enemies nearby, your pet will gain a lot of attack speed. And if your pet has a lot of attack speed, they have a higher chance to crit because they attack more often, right? So that will give you more crit damage. So pretty good actually, pretty good. Then over here we have wild attacks. So every third basic attack is guaranteed to crit, right? Which makes it so you have a higher chance of getting this to stack up, right? And also, if your pet has more attack speed from Bloodseeker, you can see how that's like a positive feedback loop of just more attack, more crit damage, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's good damage. Good job. Yeah. Then over here we have Den Recovery. So, I've also had a lot of questions about this. I'm just gonna read it first. So, whenever you press Turtle, Survival of the Fittest, or Mend Pet, the target gets healed for 20%. Of their max HP over 4 seconds. So the duration is increased by 1 second when they're below 50. So what this means is that if I'm below 50% health and I press Survival of the Fittest or Turtle, I will then gain 25% of my max HP over 5 seconds. So you get 5% more healing if you're under 50% HP. Now with Mend Pet, if I press Mend Pet, you see how my pet gains the Den Recovery effect. I don't get the heal. It's my pet that gains the heal. That's just very important to keep that in mind. So yeah, this it's the extra healing is nice, but it's mainly a thing that I would recommend in something like 2v2 arena, or like if you're playing a double DPS, then the heal can be kind of nice, or if you're playing 1v1s. Like in actually rated 3s, or in shuffles, the extra healing is not that big of a deal, so yeah. Then here we have Tireless Hunt, which is only really a talent that I would recommend playing if you are playing with Scout Instincts and Moment of Opportunity. Other than that, I would just recommend to playing with Cornered Prey, which just gives you 5 extra yards after pressing Disengage. So, in case you're wondering how long the range is, it's this long range, which is it's not really the biggest of deals, but it can be kind of nice if, let's say for example, you're trying to like chase someone with Disengage into flanking strikes. The 5 extra yards can be kind of a big deal, since normally you can only flanking strikes from here. Let's say have my pet as like a guide, and then if I press Disengage, you can now see that I can flanking strikes from over here. So that's a 5-yard improvement. Wow. So not the biggest of deals, but it can be kind of nice sometimes. Also for kicking, it can be kind of cool. Then here we just have whenever your pet basic attack, yeah, you basically have a chance to just reset the cooldown of kill command and make it do more damage. Yeah, it just a little bit more damage. Not the biggest of deals, but it's just a little bit more. Then here we have Scattered Prey. So this is the one talent that you will change a lot. So one thing, Scattered Prey does not work with the bleed. That's something to keep in mind. It only works with the initial damage on Butchery. So it's not as good as it might seem, but it's still pretty decent. what I would recommend is that if you are playing this build with Bloodseeker, then I would recommend Scattered Prey. However, if you are playing with Frenzy Strikes, which gives you more CDR on your bomb, then I would recommend Frenzy Strikes with Corner Prey, because these two work really well together, because whenever you press Wildfire Bomb, it reduces the CD of your Butchery, and then whenever you press Butchery, it reduces the CD on your Wildfire Bombs. So they kind of work together really, really well. You also can, of course, play Bloodseeker with Covering Fire. This works as well. I think both of them are pretty good, pretty viable. So I'd say play around with it, and then play whichever you think is better. I typically find that Covering Fire might be a little bit better. I just like to play Scattered Prey because it looks kind of cool. I don't know. I feel like it does something, but maybe I've been wrong this entire time, and Covering Fire is actually better. I think maybe this might just be better. So as a default, you can kind of just pick whatever. I'm not really too sure, but if I had like a gun to my head and I had to pick, like make one choice forever and you can never change it, I would say Covering Fire, because then you can press it more often, so then you can get the bleed more often. But yeah, the issue is the fact that like this relies on you having a lot of uptime in melee range, but you kind of can't. So this can be nice sometimes, because you can't always guarantee that you'll have a lot of uptime. So they both have their pros and cons. So, but yeah, if you only want to pick one and just forget about it, I guess Covering Fire would be the one that I would recommend. Then over here we have Cull the Herd, which is just 6% more damage on your kill shot, and also gives you a little bit more bleed damage on that target, which this bleed, I think it's bugged right now and it doesn't work with Merciless Blows. And that probably is going to get fixed, most likely. But in case you're wondering, the bleeds that you have is obviously the killshot bleed, and then you also have the bleed from Bloodseeker, and then you have the bleed from Merciless Blows, and then you also have the Spearhead bleed. So those would be the bleeds that would work with it. But I've heard that there's some bug right now. It doesn't work with everything, so... But, I mean, that's probably gonna get fixed. So just keep that in mind right now. Then here we have whenever you consume a Frenzied Tear, which is this thing above here. Whenever your pet basic attacks, it has a chance to... Let me show you. I'm waiting. Your pet basic attacks has a chance to make it so your next kill command hits twice. There we go. So whenever you press kill command right now, whenever you have Frenzied Tear, you have a 50% chance to make it so your next Raptor Strike costs no focus and do 60% more damage. So that's a lot. And you see here, I actually happen to get a proc. This thing right here, 60% more damage. Bang. That's a lot of damage. So that's what that does. And then here we just have, whenever you press Coordinated Assault, your Vicious Hunt and Pack Coordination happens twice, which is this thing. So basically, pretty much, your Raptor Strikes and Kill Command. So this is like a way to basically incentivize you to press more Kill Command in Raptor Strike while you're in Coordinated Assault. So I'm going to show you here. So let's say if I press Coordinated Assault, I then get this. You see how I now get a Pack Coordination. I press Raptor Strike, and then you see how you will basically have this buff up, and it will kill command twice throughout the... I mean, it will claw twice. No, it actually won't claw twice. I think it only claws once. Yeah, it only claws once, but yeah. You will you will basically have this buff up for every single Raptor Strike and kill command. So every kill command will be empowered, and every Raptor Strike will empower your pet. So that is what that does. So here we basically have the pros and cons. Let me show you what I wrote up right here, so we can read them together as a family. So the good thing about this is that you will always get the 20% damage on Raptor Strike and Wildfire Bomb, and the extra 60% on Kill Shot, no matter what you do. Sentinel is like a little bit more situational when it comes to the damage increase that you will get. And then you also get the extra range from disengaging, and then the extra survivability, which can be pretty good. Now, the downside is the fact that you don't have any talent that gives you more focus. Other than, I guess you could argue, like, Furious Assault could, in theory, give you more focus. And also the fact that, like, Frenzied Tear has a chance to give you more kill commands. And then those kill commands can also, you know, give you more focus. So in theory, you kind of have some focus regen, but it's not the same as Sentinel. And then also you have a longer cooldown on Coordinate Assault because Sentinel has a inbuilt CDR to your Coordinate Assault. And then you have kind of less burst in a way that like Sentinel can give you more like upfront burst damage because you have damage modifiers in Sentinel. So basically what I would say is that I would recommend Pack Leader if you are playing in 1v1 scenarios, or 2v2, or 3v3, or Shuffle, where you can't rely that you'll have 100% uptime in melee range. So, in my opinion, I think Sentinel is better when you're playing in matchups in 3s and Shuffle, and sometimes in 2s, where you will have 100% uptime guaranteed. So, the reason why is because you just have more like upfront like oomph, like a little bit of like a burst damage, and also all of the Sentinel dot and then the Lunar Storm and everything. But of course, I'm gonna go over Sentinel later. So, but yeah, this would just be a short, simple TLDR. Go Pack Leader if you wanna 1v1 people, or if you know that you won't have that much uptime, because the fact that you can do a lot of damage from ranged with the extra kill command damage is really, really good. So you, even if you're like left stranded in matchups where you can't do that much, you still have the extra kill command damage, which is kind of a big deal. So that is really, really good to keep in mind. So yeah, I'm just gonna pause again and I'm just gonna write the pros and cons of Sentinel. So I'm gonna BRB. Hello, we are so back. So now I'm just gonna talk a little bit about Sentinel. So how this works is that whenever you press abilities, you have a chance to apply Sentinel, and then Sentinel will then apply a dot, which will just do arcane damage on the target. So this is just some free damage without having to necessarily think about it. It's just so autopilot, like all of your spells apply Sentinel, and then also has a chance to proc Sentinel. So you don't really have to think about it at all. It's just, it will just do damage by itself without you having to, I mean, you don't have to think about like pressing kill command when you have this to gain value from the ability, or like having to press Raptor Strike for them to get extra damage from your pet. It's so autopilot, it just works by itself. Then over here we have a 1% shield whenever it does damage. So, you know, some extra shielding, not bad. Then here we have, it's just, yeah, just at the very beginning, more Sentinel stacks, so it will do more damage without you having to think about it. Same thing here, it's just more damage without you having to think about it on Raptor Strike and Wildfire Bomb. Same thing, it's just whenever you apply Sentinel, you have a chance to get more Sentinels. That's, yeah. Then here we have kind of a big thing, which is Catch Out. So the one thing about this root is that it doesn't break on damage. And then also, there are ways to remove the 1 minute cooldown. So for example, let's say if a rogue presses Cloak, or if a mage presses Ice Block, or if a paladin presses Bubble. Let's say if a rogue attacks you and they get rooted, and then they press Cloak and they attack you again, they will get rooted twice, because the internal cooldown for the 1 minute like can occur will also be removed from this. So I think there are more spells that also, I don't know if it's like Shadow Meld or if it's Vanish as well, but I know that there are a lot of spells. I think Diffuse Magic from Monk as well will also remove this like quote unquote hidden timer. So you will root a lot of people, which can be, usually it's beneficial, but sometimes it can be bad if you want to like, I don't know, let's say you want to Binding Shot and then you want to knock someone away, you know, and then obviously they can't get knocked away, so you can't trigger the stun because they are rooted maybe from Catch Out. It can be a bad thing, but usually it's a pretty good thing. So yeah. Then over here we have whenever Sentinel does damage, you have a chance to gain focus. Pretty good. Then here is one of the big things. Sentinel, so it does damage all the time. So basically, you will have a 45-second cooldown on your coordinated assault, which is a really big deal going from 60 to 45, especially because you will just press coordinated on cooldown, off cooldown. So it's not even worth going over this. This is like so bad in comparison. Like you just take this, you get the CDR, and you are chilling. It is really, really good. Then over here, we just have it so whenever you press Butchery on someone that has Sentinel, it would do a lot of damage. So, you know, just extra free damage. Can't really complain. Then here we have it so whenever they are below 20% and they have more than 3 stacks, it will just, you know, all of the damage from the Sentinel stacks that you have will just do damage all at once. Not bad. It's not like the biggest thing of all time, but it's you know, pretty decent. Then here we have Lunar Storm. I'd say this is probably one of the reasons why PvP people don't like Sentinel, and something that is like really big, like a misconception. So, number one, people don't need to stand in this for the entire duration for you to get value out of Lunar Storm. One of the really good things about Lunar Storm, in my opinion, is the fact that if you see here, they only need to be hit by one of the Lunar Storms for you to gain value from this, right? The 10% damage increase. So they don't have to stand in the entire duration for the talent to do what it's supposed to do. So even if you only get like 1 or 2 ticks from this, it's still pretty decent to just get the 10% damage increase. And especially because the cooldown is so low, 15 seconds. If you are in melee range, you're basically guaranteed to get some value from this. The only reasons, or the only time that this is bad is if you, for example, cast like Wildfire Bomb from afar, and then, because it happens on the initial hit, right? But then, because they might be so far, they're probably walking or standing, it's like hard to really guarantee that you'll get a lot of value from this. Which is also why sometimes, if I'm playing 2s or 3s or shuffle even, in my opener I can do something like a bomb, and then I can harpoon to make sure that they are actually inside, so I can get the damage, then trap the healer, and then I can maybe just, you know, go back to attack them. So that is something to keep in mind as well. There's like a pro and a con. But overall, from what I have gathered, from what I have tested, from what I have seen, here are the pros and cons. If I can, here we go. So the pros. The 45 seconds cooldown on Coordinate Assault is a really, really big deal. This, in of itself, can almost kind of hard carry everything. It's not the full picture, but it's a really, really strong thing about Sentinel. And then also the fact that since you are so focus starved with Sentinel, not with Sentinel, but like Hunter in general or Survival is really, really focus starved. So the fact that you can get some free focus without having to do anything can be kind of nice in a lot of scenarios. And then same thing with the Sentinel dot, the Lunar Storm, and then the Symbiotic Arsenal, which is the extra damage on Butchery, will just do good damage without you having to like think, like, you know, you don't have to think about it. It's just pretty decent damage overall. Don't have to think. It's just pretty good. Can't really complain. And then of course you have the catch-out route, which is, this is the most obnoxious thing for the enemy team by far. Trust me. If you are the enemy team and you get rooted by this, you want to scream and shout and let it all out. So the damage you gain if you are allowed to have uptime in melee range a lot will be really, really good. I want to say greater than Pack Leader, but not that much better. You know, like I think in the end, both of them are pretty, I guess, indistinguishable from each other based off, maybe, I don't know, 300 games that I've played. I've really tried to come to a conclusion on which one is better, but they both have their pros and cons. They're both pretty good. I would say play whichever you want, but that is just me. And then, you know, the cons are the fact that it has less reliable damage. Like if you're from afar, you will just do less damage straight up, because it's hard to really get value if you're far away with Lunar Storm. You won't really get that much value from this because you can't press Butchery on cooldown. At least you have the Coordinate Assault charge and then the damage from that, but like Pack Leader kind of just does a little bit more damage if you're playing safe, sort of. A little bit less healing. And now, what I mean by that is the fact that like the shield on details will be roughly the same, but you like if you play double DPS or in a 1v1 scenario, not having the healing can be kind of a big deal. And then sometimes the catch-out route can just really fuck you if you want to, like, I mean, as I said earlier, if you want to, like, binding shot and then knock someone away, but then they attack you at the same time, and then, you know, you can't knock them. That's, like, it's so obnoxious, but that is just something that kind of happens sometimes. So, yeah, that is kind of it when it comes to the hero talents. They are both pretty good. Play whichever you feel like, and whichever will be best given each scenario. So, yeah. Let's go over to my notepad. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh yeah, we have the pets. Sure, let's go over the pets. So, let's go over to the stable master right here, if I can find him. Should be this panda right here. So, there are 4 pets that I would say are kinda like mandatory to have. So the number 1 would be a undead raptor. Now, why do you want to have an undead raptor? The reason why is because undeads are immune to certain type of CC. Now, the only CC that you need to worry about is sap and polymorph. So if you ever get into a mage or a rogue and you don't want your pet to be sapped or polymorphed, which is maybe if you're like defending in Blitz, you don't want your pet to be sapped, or I don't know, the opener or something like that, you know? It used to be a bigger deal back in the day when hunters and druids had scare beast and hibernate by default, but no one is gonna ever take hibernate and scare beast just to fear your pet, so it does not really matter. One of the big downsides with undead pets though, and why you can't have them all the time, is because they will get stunned from a Ret Paladin's Wake of Ashes. So if you ever face a Ret Paladin, you can never ever in your entire life play an undead pet. It is really, really bad to do. And then in case you're wondering about the special abilities, you get 8% movement speed, you get the healing decrease, and then you get Master's Call, which is your freedom. So yeah, those are the abilities you have. Then over here you can have a raptor, a hyena, or a rodent. They will all do the exact same thing, and they have the exact same abilities as the raptor. It's just that it's a beast. So that's kind of it. Then over here, you can have a carrion bird, or a ravager, a scorpion, or a wasp. They will all do the exact same thing. And what they do is that they bring bloodlust, which will be good in case you're playing Blitz, and you're the only one that can activate bloodlust on your team, or if you're playing like a normal battleground, whatever, or if you're doing some world PvP and you want a bloodlust, you know, I don't know. Those are basically the cases that you would ever play this. You would never use this in an arena environment. It's only specifically if you're playing Blitz or like a BG and you're the only one that has bloodlust. Then over here we have a tenacity pet, which has access to Fortitude of the Bear, which gives you 20% max HP, and then heals you for 20% of your max HP as well. So that's a really big deal, kind of massive. And then the passive that you get is 5% extra health. So usually you will play this if you're ever into like a sub rogue, maybe something really bursty like a enhanced shaman, or if you feel like you're not getting that much value from freedom, aka Master's Call, you can also of course pick this pet, because the heal can be kind of nice. And then one thing that's good about this heal as well is the fact that it works even if you're CC'd. So let's say, for example, you are stun locked by a rogue, you know, you can still use this to heal yourself while you're in the stun lock. So keep that in mind, pretty good. And in case you don't want to have a lizard, you can also tame a direhorn, a hydra, lizard, or a river beast. So those are the best that you want to have. And then the 5th one, this is like alternative. Doesn't really matter. I have a blood beast because they have a slow that is 10-yard range. Now I only really use this pet into rogue mage in 2s sometimes, because having a slow that you don't have to press into rogue mage in 2s can be kind of nice, since you can slow them behind the pillar. Harder time for them to get over to you, so this is not like a mandatory thing whatsoever at all, but it can be, you know, it can be something that you kind of want to do. So yeah, keep that in mind. And also, I didn't mention it earlier, but I'll mention it now. You cannot tame undead raptors without getting the tome first. So I'm gonna get the, show you. It's the thing over here. If you click on raptor, then you can scroll down, and then it's this thing. So you need to get this item first before you can do anything. And the way to get this, the easiest way, is to just make your way downtown to Shadowlands, then go to Madruxus, and then either enter Plaguefall or Theater of Pain and just kill a bunch of mobs until you eventually get it. So if you haven't done the Shadowlands campaign, you maybe can ask someone. Maybe you have a guildie, maybe some friends to summon you, because you know you could just you just need 2 people that can summon you. But if you don't know anyone, I guess you have to do the entire campaign by yourself, which, I mean, that kind of sucks. But you know what? Sometimes you have to do what you have to do. So if you have to do that, then I guess you have to do that. So yeah, that is kind of everything about the pets. Notepad. What else do we have? Oh yeah, let me go over the gear and the embellishments. So here is the gear that I have. I took a screenshot of my gear in PvP, so let me show you. It's this thing over here. So these are the stats in PvP combat. You see how I have 20%? Well, it's 20.51 because I want to get over to the 1.24 GCD. And then it's 17.37% versatility, and then 21.73% mastery. So I have a BIS list over here, in case you're wondering. So I would recommend the one with 2 set. So that would be tier set, crafted versus haste, tier. I mean, you can read. So this would be what I would recommend. I'm also going to have this in the description down below. So this would be all of the gear that I would recommend. And also, I've gotten questions about the engineering bracers. So I have put in this tinker, but this is optional. You don't need to do this. That's just keep that. This does not work in PvP. It only works in like outside or in like a battleground or things like that. So you don't need to get this. You don't need to. It doesn't really do anything. It's just like a for fun thing. Like, I don't know, maybe what if I'm dueling someone, and then, you know, I just have the ability to just heal myself. Just like that. You know? You know what I mean? So yeah. I just wanted to gloss over that real quick. So yeah. Just follow this list. I would not recommend the 4 set. You can if you really want to. If you really want to, you could. But our 4 set is just kinda bad. If you remember how much I have been saying that you can't really press Raptor Strike or Mongoose Bite at all. And then it's only a 10% damage increase, which would be fine in of itself, but it's only when they are affected by Wildfire Bomb. Now, I have gone over, I think I went over, it was like 8 games average, and it was like 50% of your Raptor Strikes were actually on someone that had Wildfire Bomb on them. So that kind of averages into 5% damage on Raptor Strike. So then it's like, okay, how much damage increase is 5% Raptor Strike damage? I mean, you can see here, I did the math. It's just 4 set is just not really worth it at all. So yeah, I would just not recommend it. That is, yeah, that's what I would say. That's kind of it. And then we have macros. Yeah, let's go over some macros. Actually, I'm going to go over them on my website over here. Not my website, but Pastebin. So I'm going to link this in my description box down below. But here is every single one of my macros that I have. I'd say one of the most important ones that I use, which is this thing that I don't see many people have. It's /cast at target sword attack. The reason why I have this is so you don't accidentally break CC. So, let's say you are against a rogue or a hunter, you know? And let's say they press Feign Death. Okay, well, not Butchery, obviously, but you can see how I can press all of my abilities, and then it won't immediately target them. The reason why I have this is because something that happened a lot was, let's say I wanted to like trap the healer, just like that. And then I was like attacking, you know, the hunter, blah, blah, blah. And then if the hunter ever pressed feign death, and if you would spam Raptor Strike, you would just attack. Well, so if you're in a scenario like this, I would then just, yeah, like let me show you. /cast Raptor. I will now do a Raptor Strike on this nearest enemy. You see? And then you would just break the CC, and it's so awkward. So instead, I have written every single one of my damage abilities just like this, so it no longer does this. And you need to have start attack as well to start your auto attack, because if you don't do this, the big rook mistake that I see some people do is that they don't auto attack ever because they don't have this. So let me show you. If you only do normal Raptor Strikes like this, it won't actually start your auto attack swing. So that's why you need to also have start attack. Very important. And the same thing, it needs to be target assist, because otherwise it will just auto, you know, if you see, if I just type /start attack, I will just attack. Why, like what, hello? In what world am I attacking this? Hello? Start attack? Huh? Okay, you can imagine, let's say you target this guy, and then now I wanna press Wildfire Bomb, and then /cast Wildfire Bomb. Okay, apparently, but why start attack on? I don't know. I just don't think of just do this and then you're fine. Thank you. And then I also have this macro, which is very important, since I kind of swap between Spearhead and Fury of the Eagle a lot. So if you see here, if I can drop combat, thank you. I have it made just like this. Waiting. This will then become Fury of the Eagle. Wow, isn't that so cool? And I have this for all of my abilities and basically everything, so I would highly recommend reading everything here. I spent a lot of time on this. I feel like as a guide, I don't know if it's like that beneficial for me to go over everything, because I have explanations for like everything and everything. And also maybe this will like change in the future. So I'm gonna link this down below in the description, and then you can go over and then you can read it by yourself. So yeah. See, what else do we have? Not bad. Have some tips and tricks. Oh, so the number one tip and trick, the biggest one, the biggest that I would recommend, is making sure that track hidden is on. If you don't know, track hidden gives you 10 yards extra stealth detection. So if you have it off, you will have 5 yard stealth detection, which is like this. So you can see people from stealth from this range. However, if you have track hidden on, you can see stealth detection from 15 yards. So you can be this far away from someone and you can see them in stealth. Now, it's not like WoW tick rate isn't like 24/7 always. So you won't always see them in this area, but if someone is this far away from you in stealth for long enough for like the WoW tick rate to like actually work, then you will see them from this far away, which is kind of a big deal. So always make sure, very important, track hidden, turn it on. Thank you. Then we have the spells so you can use in turtle. So I just did a little bit of a write up here. So, you know, you can press your traps, you can press Scare Beast, Master's Call, you can disarm people, you can use Tracker Set if you want to do that. You can do things like Roar of Sacrifice, Acceleration, you can feign death, you can wall. So yeah, that's just so you don't like press turtle and are afraid to press anything. You know that there are some spells that you can't. And yeah, one of the biggest things that you can't press Hunter's Mark. They removed this for some reason, and you can't press Wild Kingdom either. These spells you could press before, but they have been removed for some reason. I don't know why, but that's just, I don't know. That's just the way life is sometimes. They just remove stuff for no reason. Then over here we have a Pet Taunt. So, the one thing about Pet Taunt is that it applies combat to people, which doesn't necessarily seem like a big deal. but it's the fact that you can apply combat to people without breaking the CC, which is a really big deal. So, for people that don't know, combat in PvP is always 6 seconds. So, if I attack someone, it takes 6 seconds for me to drop combat. Now, why is this important? Well, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but a lot of CCs in WoW last for 6 seconds. So, things like Fear, Polymorph, Freezing Trap, Cyclone, which means that if you are a druid and you cyclone a druid or a rogue, that means that at the end of the cyclone, they will drop combat. So that means that every single druid and every single rogue can always get a re-stealth out of your trap and out of a cyclone. Now, why is this a big deal? It's a really big deal because let's say you play 2v2 arena, right? And you're gonna do damage, blah, blah, blah. And then you trap the healer. The healer Resto Druid, okay? If you don't pet taunt the druid in stealth, what will happen is that they will, out of the freezing trap, they can go cat form, and then they will just rake stun you. Or, even worse, if you play with let's say a feral druid or a resto druid, and they cyclone the rogue will always get a re-stealth out of the cyclone, which is, you never want this to happen, ever. So, what you can do is just pet taunt, and then there you go. You just do a little cheeky pet taunt, and then bada bing, bada boom, ta-da, there you go. So I have it keybounded to Alt-S, kind of a fun keybind. So, if you don't, because the one thing that's bad about this is the fact that your pet can break the CC, right? Because if I pet taunt, it will also like attack them. You see? So you will need to do pet taunt into pet, pet stop attack, like. So what I could do is just macro, like dismiss pet. I mean pet follow, and then pet passive. I could do this to just make it so my pet doesn't like break the CC, but I just have a habit of doing it manually. So yeah, you can add this if you really want to, but I don't do it because there are some scenarios where like maybe I don't want my pet to, you know, like what if I want my pet to actually be on them? Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Really important to make sure that you want to keep people in combat. And then again, the reason why I would recommend doing pet taunt instead of something like concussive shot is because it's not on global. But something that you can do as well is if you want to get combat with people and you don't want a rogue or a druid to get a re-stealth, you could just conk shot them, and then this works too. So you can also do this as well, or you can even purge them or something. But just make sure you do something, because letting people get free re-stealth out of a cyclone or a freezing trap, it's a really, really bad thing. So keep that in mind. And then here we have Roar of Sacrifice. So this is kind of a weird spell in a way, because looking at it, you can't really be too sure how this works. But basically how it works is that it's 40 yards from the hunter, and then also 40 yards ignoring line of sight of the pet. So let's say, for example, right now that I want to press Roar of Sacrifice on myself. Okay? In this scenario, I can do it, because I'm within 40 yards of myself, of course, and I'm also within 40 yards of my pet. So here, if I press Roar of Sacrifice, it's going to work. Ta-da! It worked. Then, let's say this scenario. Let's say I have a teammate standing right here, this little guy, you know? In this scenario, I cannot press Roar of Sacrifice on this individual. The reason why is because even though he's within 40 yards of me, he's not within 40 yards of my pet. So both you and the pet needs to be within 40 yards. But the crazy thing about this is that you don't need to be within 40 yards of your pet. So I can stand over here. So here I'm kind of I'm kind of far away, right, from my pet. Let's do it like this. Like, I'm really far away from my pet right now, but I can still press Roar of Sacrifice on this because this target is within 40 yards of my pet and 40 yards of me. So therefore it works. Also, another thing is that if your pet is in crowd control, no matter what, you cannot press Roar of Sacrifice unless it's a disorient. So that includes the Mage Dragon's Breath, the DK Blind, Rogue Blind, or Scattershot from Hunters, or what's it called? If for whatever reason your pet is horrified from Vampiric Touch, that also works. In case you're running, I don't know, a like one of these pets that can like self-cleanse themselves, and if they remove VT, it still works. And then it's also the Blind from Paladins. So all of those abilities, even though they're technically CC effects, you can still do every single pet ability. So you can do Kill Command, you can use Intimidation, and you can also use Roar of Sacrifice. Now, this is especially good if, let's say, your pet is about to get Dragon's Breath into Ring of Frost. You can then use Intimidation on the mage, even though your pet is in a Dragon's Breath. Or you can, like, if you really want to be like MLG, super fancy, you can Kill Command someone that is outside of the Ring of Frost to reposition your pet, even though your pet is inside the Dragon's Breath. Don't ask me why it works like that, but it works like that. Can I open up my notepad? There we go. And then we have Scattershot. So one thing about Scattershot is that it will not break damage on Explosive Shot. So you can do combos like this. But then, yeah, they have changed Wildfire Bomb. Now Wildfire Bomb breaks Scattershot. Really, really sad. So if you played back in the day and you used to remember the good old times where Wildfire Bomb didn't break Scatter, well, sadly, we live in a society, and yeah, now it breaks. So that is really, really sad, but keep that in mind. I will just do this so I won't get combat randomly from Sentinel. Let's see, what else do we have? And then we have Camouflage, exactly. So, Camouflage, you might just think that it's like a normal, basic, whatever ability, but no, actually. It has one really big thing that you can do, which is if you don't have a pet, and then you press Camouflage. Now, if you summon your pet, and the pet is not in stealth, you can now attack with your pet, and it will no longer take you out. You see? Wow. The one thing about this that is really bad, and really sad, is that there's currently a bug with Kill Command and Camouflage. So, whenever you press Kill Command, and the 20% chance it has to reset, it will take you out. So, I can press Kill Command. It didn't take me out. Kill Command. Didn't take me out. Kill Command. Didn't take me out. Kill Command. Didn't take me out. Kill Command again. Hasn't taken me out. I have not gotten a reset. Can I get a reset just to show the... It's always when you test stuff, it never works. Oh, there we go. I got a reset, and it took me out. Wow. Ta-da. So this is, it's really bad. And I hate Blizzard Entertainment, because there are so many times where, like, I'm in stealth, I see an Earth Grab Totem, and then it's like, okay, do I kill the Earth Grab Totem? But then I have a 1 in 5 chance to get taken out, and you have to, like, do the gamble calculation to see if it's even worth it. But usually, it is still worth it. So I would say, like, it's really good to just press Kill Command for some free damage in the opener. So go for it. But keep in mind that if you ever get taken out, that's why you get taken out. And also, something that I see a lot in Blitz is that if you summon... Okay, okay. If you have a pet out, and then you go in stealth, your pet will be in stealth. If you resummon the same pet, it will also be in stealth. So, let's say you are maybe defending in Blitz or something, and you go stealth. What you can do to spin the flag is that you can dismiss your pet, summon another pet, and then now you can, like, spin the flag and you will still be in stealth. This is only a visual bug, you are still in stealth. So, just keep that in mind, because obviously now, if I dismiss the pet, and then I summon my previous pet, it's still in stealth. So, if I attack with this pet, it will take me out. So, that is something to keep in mind. And then there's also one mechanic with Kill Command that I'm going to show. So I'm just going to post the video, and then we will be back whenever I have it back. Hello, hello. Okay, so one thing also about Kill Command is the fact that just pressing Kill Command, even if your pet is in stealth, will not take you or your pet out unless you get a reset. So let's see if I press Kill Command right now. You see? As long as you press Pet Passive right after, it will not take you or your pet out. But here, obviously, I get a reset, so I get taken out. But yeah, just keep that in mind. Really cool, really good. Let's open up the notepad again. Then we have Intimidation. So one thing about Intimidation that is really, really cool is the fact that it is only tied to your pet. So what I mean by that is, like, let's say I'm standing right here. I give a better, let's say I'm standing like over here, right? In a scenario, I cannot kill command the dungeon training dummy because I'm out of range, right? So kill command, even though it's 50 yards, same thing as Intimidation, it requires your line of sight. Now, Intimidation doesn't work like this. This means that you can be, what is it? You can be 149 yards away from someone and then stun them. Because your pet gets dismissed from you when you're at 100 yards. So let's say that my pet is 50 yards away. Let's say my pet is standing right here. My pet is standing right here. Okay. Let's do this, guys, so you can see the stun animation. This is just for fun. My pet is standing right here. I can stun this guy from here. Do you see how this is not glowing up? See? So here I'm 100 yards away. My pet got this. What happened? I can't even see the mob anymore. Here. I'm 100 yards away. You can still stun them. So, basically, Intimidation is... The range is massive. And it also ignores line of sight. So I can be literally over here and then you can stun someone. Now, you might ask, why is this useful? Like, how does that even matter? The reason why this matters is because there are a lot of cases where you want to stun someone and then you can walk up to them and then trap them. So, if someone is behind a pillar on an arena, you can just have your pet on them preemptively so they can't line of sight your Intimidation, and then you can stun them whenever you want. That's a banger way to, like, win the game, you know, right? Or if you're playing Blitz or something, let's say you're on Warzone Gulch and you're chasing someone up the pillar, you don't have to be in the line of sight. As long as your pet is in line of sight, you can always stun them. So keep that in mind. Really good, awesome knowledge. Just like you can't kill command, but you can press Intimidation. So that's kind of fun. Any hoosers. I'm in combat. I can't open up my notepad add-on. Oh no. There we go. Oh yeah, and then something that's very, very huge. Do not macro / cast wake up from your abilities. Now, you might ask, what is wake up? I have never even heard about that spell. Let me show you, actually. Okay, so Play Dead, aka Pet Feign Death, is a spell that you can buy from this guy right over here. There we go. In case you don't have access to the True Shot Lounge, you could also go to Northrend, Chulosar Basin. You can go right here, Nesingwary Base Camp. There will be a vendor right here. You can also learn this ability, so just go over here. It's a lot easier. But anyways, what this spell does, it basically works the same way as Feign Death. For you, it makes people untarget you. So if someone is targeting your pet and they're casting, I don't know, Cyclone, maybe it's a Shadow Priest casting Vampiric Touch to get like their insanity. Maybe it's a healer casting Cyclone. Maybe it's, I don't know, a mage casting some random spell. I don't know, whatever. Any spell you see might happen on your pet, just press Pet Feign Death, and then you wake it up. Now, this is wake up. So, I don't know what content creator it is, but there is some Hunter player out there that has made it, or that has recommended for people to have wake up in your rotational abilities. Now, the reason why this is so bad to do is because wake up can go on cooldown before Play Dead goes on cooldown, which means that if I just macro, let's say to my Wildfire Bomb / cast wake up, I can then wake my pet up before it's sleeping, right? So then you can't wake it up. So let me show you what I mean. I think like right now, the wake up should be available. So I'm just gonna press my Wildfire Bomb. You see how I do the animation? So now I've already wakened my pet up. So if I put him to sleep, I can't. This is already on cooldown. So there is no way around it. You can't macro it. There is nothing you can. There's no get out of jail free card. If you want a pet feed death, you have to press it twice. So just get used to pressing it twice. There is no cheat code. For whatever reason, never do this. It's so awful. Thank you. That is all that I wanted to say. And I think that is it when it comes to the tips and tricks. Kind of, sort of. I'd say like the biggest thing though by far though is just having track hidden on. Like by far this is the biggest thing. So yeah, just make sure that you have that on. So now we are going to go into how do you do damage. This is going to be the biggest thing actually. Just how do you do damage? So I think most people might have like seen the length of this guide and be like, oh man, I don't care about anything else. Just show me how to do damage. So hello guys, we are 100 minutes in. Finally I can tell you how to do damage on the spec. So here's the priority list. The number one is explosive shot. The reason why is because, well, I mean, for starters, you can no longer dispel explosive shot. So that's pretty good. Also, with Grenade Juggler, this thing right over here, your Wildfire Bomb has a 25% chance, which is really high, by the way, to reset the cooldown of explosive shot. Okay? So you kind of always want to make sure that this is on cooldown so you can get at least some value from the reset, right? So that's why it's the highest prio. Then second of all, we have Kill Shot from the proc. I mean, just a normal kill shot works too, but usually from the proc. And then number 3, you have Wildfire Bomb. This will be the spell that you want to make sure is always on cooldown. Always, no matter what, just keep it on cooldown. Thank you. If you ever see you have 2 charges of Wildfire Bomb, you're doing something wrong. This should never happen. Just make sure you press this on cooldown. Then number 4, we have Butchery. So, Butchery is a melee global. Now, the thing about melee globals is that they are really hard to press because, you know, you have to be melee range, so you can't press them all the time. So it's always going to be easier to press Wildfire Bomb, for example, than Butchery. So even though I put Wildfire Bomb and Explosive Shot above Butchery, sometimes Butchery will actually be the highest prio. Now, the reason for this is that let's say you're against a mage, right? And you know that the mage will blink. If you happen to be melee range of the mage, knowing he will blink away from you, it's always better to then, the second that you are in melee range, just press Butchery. And then maybe even Raptor Strike. So you get the Serpent Sting. And then they will blink away. Now you can just do the Explosive Shot and then the bombs, right? Because like, let's say if you are melee range, you press Explosive Shot, and then bomb, and then they blink away. Now you have nothing to press, right? Whereas if you just press your melee abilities when they are in melee range, now they blink away. That doesn't really matter as much because you still have all of your range abilities left, right? So this is why it's really hard to have like a good consensus on the priority damage list, because sometimes Butchery and Raptor Strike is way higher if you know that you can only be melee range for like a small moment. Then on number 5 here, I put Flanking Strikes. So Flanking Strikes is the only spell that you can only press with Tip of the Spear. So, in case you guys don't know, it scales 15% extra additional, so that makes it 39% more damage if you have a Tip of the Spear stack, instead of the normal as 19. So you always want to make sure that you press Flanking Strikes if you have a Tip of the Spear. If you don't have a Tip of the Spear, like, I don't care. Let's say you're in a scenario like this and you really want to press Flanking. I don't care what you do. Just do Kill Command and then do the Flanking Strikes. Thank you very much. It's so important. Because the spell hits for 1 billion. So if you buff it by 39%, that's a really big deal. So thank you. Always buff Flanking Strikes. That's super, super important. And then Raptor Strike, just to apply Serpent Sting. You can, of course, press Raptor Strike if you already have Serpent Sting, but it's really hard to do in like an actual game, so it's mainly to just apply Serpent Sting. And then over here we just have Kill Command. So even though Kill Command is like the lowest in the priority list, I mean, I type it here as well. But if you know that you're gonna have a lot of uptime in the future, it's always beneficial to press kill command, like weaving into your spells, because otherwise you're gonna go out of focus. And also to gain value from tip of the spear. So damage. Okay, so the priority list is hard in PvP compared to PvE because number one, you have to over prio melee spells. Second of all, sometimes you have to forego the 90% damage buff you gain from tip of the spear because you don't have enough time to weave in kill commands. Now, an example of like a time where you don't have enough time is, let's say you are into some sort of like like a demo or like a BM warlock, like a demo warlock, right? And you have you are playing with frenzy strikes. In this scenario, it's really hard to try to get a lot of value from kill command because you have so many other buttons to press. Because you have to press explode a shot on cooldown essentially, and then you have to press wildfire bomb on cooldown, and then you will press butchery to get cooldown reduction on your wildfire bomb, which will then trigger the wildfire bomb to then also give you CDR on your butchery. So then you will press butchery again, but then you will press wildfire bomb, which will then give you CDR on your butchery, which will then, the positive feedback loop, it will go over and over and over again. So like, do you see where I'm coming from? Where it's like, it's really hard to try to weave in kill command because you have so many other globals to press that will just do more damage straight up. Like, even though kill command buffs your abilities, sure, they will always do that. But if you compare global for global, it's always more damage to do wildfire bomb into a wildfire bomb. That's 2 globals, compared to doing a kill command into wildfire bomb, if that makes any sense. However, moments where this doesn't matter is if you know you will have a lot of uptime in the future, because then you always want to try to weave in as many kill commands as you can between your spells, because otherwise you will run out of focus, because obviously you can't do the wildfire bomb, butchery, explosive shot, wildfire bomb, butchery. You will just go essentially, right? So you just can't do that. So then you have to weave in kill commands between this. But something that people don't pay attention to as well is the fact that this is a luxury. If you have an issue where it's like, oh no, how do I have to weave in my kill commands? Oh no, it's so hard. How do I do it? It's the biggest luxury to ever have this problem. Because, first of all, that means that you have 100% uptime in melee range. Now, if you have 100% uptime in melee range, that means that you're doing a lot of damage and you're also not dying, which is really hard. Usually, you will be attacked, so you have to kite, so you have to run away, so you can't have uptime in melee range. And if you don't have uptime in melee range, you basically don't really have anything else to press other than kill command. So then it becomes really easy to weave in kill commands, so you won't have to think about it as much, because it's a luxury to get all of your melee abilities off. And then second of all, it's also a luxury because if you are out of focus in order to press kill command, that means that you will have a lot of uptime. And if you have a lot of uptime, you have uptime. So your damage is going to be really high regardless. So no matter what, in most games, you won't have to think about it much because you will just press kill command and you will just press... like, your spells will just be buffed by tip of the spear without you having to think about it, because you have to press kill command anyway, because you won't have uptime in melee range all the time. And if you don't have uptime in melee range all the time, you don't have to think about it, because you have to choose between, do I either press nothing, or do I press kill command, because it's the only spell that is up. I hope that kind of makes some sense. I've been thinking about how to explain it to people, but like, I think that is maybe one of the most easy ways to think about it, where you will, if you just do your rotation in a way that makes sense, you will just have kill commands. It will just basically be pressed on cooldown for the most part. And also, coordinated assault will give you tip of the spear stacks. So I'm just gonna do like a example damage rotation right now, so you can kind of see where I'm going with this without pressing coordinated assault, of course. So I'm gonna pretend you're not in melee range. So example for like an opener could be something like explosive shot into bomb, I got a reset, so now you can do explosive shot again. And now I'm in melee range. So now I know that I'm going to have a lot of uptime in melee range. So therefore, I'm going to be maybe 50% focused by now because you've already pressed 3 globals. You can then do a kill command. And then you can do a butchery because you're in melee range. You want to apply this first. And then you want to apply Raptor Strike. And then now you can bomb again. And then now you can press kill command. And then now I can press flanking strikes. I can then do a Raptor Strike. I can then refresh my butchery. Into then pressing my wildfire bomb. Into maybe a kill command. Into explosive shot. Into a kill command, into a wildfire bomb, into another explosive shot, into apply this, into kill command, into a wildfire bomb, into another kill command, reapply my serpent sting, kill command, wildfire bomb, butchery, raptor strike, kill command, raptor strike, into another kill command, into a flanking strikes, into a kill command, into a wildfire bomb, into a butchery. I want to buff this with my tip of the spear, so you can kill command, and you can explode a shot, and then you can wildfire bomb, and then you can press this again, and then blah blah. So you can see here how if I know that I'm gonna have a lot of uptime in melee range, it's always good to press kill command because then you have infinite globals to press. Always, forever. You will never have a time where you will not have a button to press if you weave in kill commands. The issue with this rotation in PvP is that up front, the damage is lower because you have to weave in your kill commands. So even though you get the 90% damage increase from tip of the spear, it's still less damage than just doing all of your spells without having to worry about kill command. But then you will run out of steam. So this is something that they will see me do a lot. If you watch my gameplay, usually in the opener, I will forego tip of the spearing every single ability because it's a luxury to have uptime anyway. So I wanna get as much damage as I can immediately. So that's why I will do something like explosive shot into butchery, into raptor strike, into maybe bombing twice. I'm so and then I get this again. And then you see now I'm so I do the kill command to then buff the flanking strikes. And then same thing. And then I just press this. I'm now, so then I will just press this. So this will be like a rotation that I will do if I can't guarantee my uptime, because then I'm in melee range right now, so I want to get as much value as I can from being melee range. So you overprior your butchery, overprior your raptor strike, and then after that you can then do more of like a hit and run playstyle where you can maybe just do like a butchery into a raptor strike, and then, you know, explosive shot, a little bit of a kill command, a little bit of a bomb, just more damage from afar. So whenever you're doing damage like this, you can always make sure to kill command in between, so you have more time to get your globals out. I just squeeze in a little bit of a melee global here, into a bomb, into tip of the spear to buff your flanking strikes, and then, you know, you can just go back out again. So that's kind of how your damage rotation will look. You will just make sure to press butchery off cooldown, press bomb on cooldown, and press explosive shot on cooldown, and then apply serpent sting if possible, and then only really weave in your kill commands if you know that in the future you're going to have a lot of uptime throughout the entire encounter. So I think that was very long-winded and like maybe hard to understand, but this to me is the biggest problem with survival when it comes to explaining the way that you deal damage, because it is so dependent on what the enemy team is allowing you to do. So there is really no simple way of explaining the damage. That's why I have to ramble so much. But I hope at least some of it made some sense. So yeah, that's kind of it when it comes to the damage. And then here are this is an opener that I would recommend. So I'm gonna fly over, and then I'm gonna have some dummies just to like illustrate the opener a little bit better. So I'm gonna be Beery. Hello team, here we are. So let's pretend that this is going to be the DPS, and then over here we will have the healer. So I'm gonna go put the healer on focus. So here is an opener that I would recommend for the most part, where you wanna be in camouflage. So you wanna start out in camouflage, then you wanna summon your pet, then you wanna do as many kill commands as you can, then explosive shot, then wildfire bomb twice, then you will do a stun on the healer, into spearhead, into trap, into coordinated, butchery, wildfire bomb, flanking, apply serpent sting, and then you can bomb again. So let me just show this in focus. So you need to be melee range of the healer if you want to do stun, global, trap. Otherwise you can only do stun, trap. So I'm going to show you the correct way of doing the rotation right now. So we'll start out like this. press kill command as much as you can. Get your tip of the spears just to get a better positioning. Here I get open on, so I wanna do explosive shot. I mean into bomb, into stun on the healer, into spearhead, into trap, into coordinated assault, butchery. Then you wanna do your wildfire bomb. Now you have one tip left, so now you wanna press flanking strikes, into apply a serpent sting, into another wildfire bomb. And then now you will lose all of your tip of the spear stacks, so now you can probably do like another butchery, and then you can now maybe, you know, continue on with the rotation normally. So here, for example, I know that I can have a lot of uptime. So if you know you can have a lot of uptime, you always want to try to weave in kill commands if you can. So here you can maybe do like a butchery, then you can kill command, then you can explode the shot, then you can apply serpent sting, then you can kill command, you can then bomb, then you want to buff the kill command, buff the kill shot, so you want to buff it, and then you want to press butchery, then you need to reapply your serpent sting, then you want to press bomb, then you want to press kill command to then buff your flanking, and then kill command to buff your kill shot, apply butchery, then you want to press bomb, then you want to kill command, buff this bomb, apply your serpent sting, kill command to buff your coordinate assault, to buff your explosive shot, and then here we are back again with the butchery. So you press this, and then this. I have all of my globals. I know that I said press this, and this, but it's because it's hard to like do it while not being spaced out. So yeah, I'm gonna show you one more time another way of doing it. But this is basically what you will do every single game. One of the biggest mistakes that you can do is to just instantaneously stun trap, because then you won't have any damage, because as you can see, it takes a long time for you to get all of your damage globals off. So I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do the harpoon thing, which is pretty good to do if you have Sentinel. So I'm gonna show you right now how you would do if you were playing Sentinel. Let me show you. Same thing here. You would start out without a pet. The gates open. You're running forward. You can then do summon a pet. You can then start kill commanding to get some cheeky tip of the spear stacks. Let's just do one more. Same thing here. Explosive shot. Into bomb, harpoon, bomb. Maybe a cheeky butchery because I'm in melee range. Then you can stun. Then you can do spearhead. Then you can trap. Coordinate assault. Bomb. Apply serpent sting. Into flanking. Now you don't have. Now you can just press bomb again. Into this. Because you get a proc. And then you can do. And then now you just. You see now I'm running out of focus. But so now that I'm out of focus and I know that I would have a lot of uptime in melee range, I can now weave in tip of the spears before all of your spells. So yeah, that is kind of the rotation, kind of the opener that I would recommend. So as long as you do these like styles of openers, instead of just rushing in, not doing any damage, just like trapping the healer, and then try to like press bomb into like coordinated bomb, it's like so awkward. Like you're not gonna do that much damage. So like I would always recommend to at least always try to do like a couple of globals beforehand. And if you want to, you can be even more lazy with it, or like you can be a little bit more lenient with it. If you're into something like a priest, I think I have time. I have 20 seconds to kind of show what I mean. Okay, let me show you. Where you can do this, where you can do like explosive shot into bomb, into slow him so he gets silenced soon. So you can do 2 globals. Now he's going to be silenced, so you can then harpoon trap into coordinate assault, and then now it's basically the same opener, but then you still have coordinated assault, which can be pretty good if you play shuffle and then you play with a teammate that don't really have a stun available and you wanna maybe use binding shot for something else. So you have that option of like there's so many ways that you can do it, but you can also just save the silence and then stun after it. So there are so many ways that you can actually do your opener, but the 2 things here that I showed would be the ones that I would recommend practicing. So as long as you can master your opener, I feel like everything else is just gonna fall into place. Because to me, in my opinion, I think that survival, the rotation is only hard when you have every single ability open, you know? Because then it's like, okay, when do I press spearhead? When do I coordinated? When do I bomb? When do I butchery? When do I explosive? When do I reapply serpent sting? Do I have to tip of the spear every single kill command? When do I flanking strikes? When do I stun? When do I binding? When do I, you know, blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. So just focus on this. I wrote this as well. but yeah, if you want to do it a little bit faster, you can do it like this. So yeah, that's kind of it. So I'm gonna go back to the True Shot launch. So I'll see you there. Hello, and we are back. So originally when I planned on making this guide, I was gonna have some gameplay footage to go over, but I think maybe, in my opinion, that would be a little bit too long of a guide. So I think I'm gonna cut it short here, around 2 hours. I think that's like pretty good. I just wanted to talk a lot when it came to the talents and then how to do damage. That was like one of the big things that I really wanted to talk over, and to try to make it as like quote-unquote beginner-friendly as possible by like over-explaining everything. And then I've had like a lot of feedback asking me to just make shorter guides, but the thing is, I kind of want to do long guides where I just ramble, because that's like the form of content that I enjoy. Like, I can legit spend 4 hours listening to some random guy talk about Rocket League or Hearthstone, like games that I don't even talk about. So I think it's so funny and it's so heartwarming whenever I have comments are like, "Whoa, I haven't even played WoW since like Legion, but I still watch your content because I think it's interesting." So yeah, I just think it's kind of, I'm lucky to be in that situation where I can have like high expertise on someone and just ramble for like 2 hours about the most like mundane shit of all time. So yeah, that's kind of why I just make all of my guides in like a really long ramble format. So for the people that enjoy it, I understand. I do too. So that's why I make guides like this. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. And then I'm going to make more guides later. If there's anything specific that you guys want to know, any like matchup, maybe a shuffle, maybe a twos, maybe a threes match, maybe like a specific matchup that is hard, then sure, I can go over it. So just leave it down in the comments down below, and then I'll make a video talking about how to maybe win against, like, I don't know, BM hunters in twos. There's like a very big trick that you guys need to know how to win against BM hunters, or how to win in shuffle when there's a caster lobby, or maybe a melee lobby, or maybe a mixed lobby, or what is even your role in shuffle, you know? So if there's anything specific that you want to know, just ask, and yeah, I will come around to make it. So yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you had fun. Yeah, I haven't even shown my rating, but I guess this is my rating, TXT. Okay, take care. I love you guys. Peace out, mi amigos. Ciao ciao. Bye bye.